Have to get there. So do me a favor, hit subscribe, watch, comment, keep the comments coming, and share with your family and friends, share with everybody, because the insanity, it doesn't stop. Look, let's be clear. Trump seemed to have some trouble sleeping last night, especially after he posted multiple times at 3 in the morning. And trust me, I know what it's like to get the phone calls at 4 o'clock in the morning, but 3? Come on, Mr. President, sleep. Maybe, I don't know, maybe his problematic decision making, I don't know, something sense from sleep deprivation. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is what he posted, calling out Senator Chris Coons after Coons suggested that Trump's potential deal with Iran looked similar to Obama's. Let me show you what he wrote. In it, he turns around and says, "Tell phony Democrat Senator Chris Coons that I am not offering Iran anything, unlike Obama, who paid them billions under the stupid road to a nuclear weapon, JCPOA, which would now be expired, nor am I even talking to them since we totally obliterated their nuclear facilities." Well, Trump also posted that consumer costs are dropping. Let me show you what he said there. In it, he turns around and states the Trump administration has gotten costs down very substantially for the American consumer. There has never been anything like this. Well, I'm going to agree with him on that. There's never been anything like it because consumer products are not down. In fact, most Americans right now are suffering. Meanwhile, the Senate, finally, they worked over the weekend. I mean, as if working over the weekend is something special. Senate worked over the weekend debating the big, beautiful bill. And on Saturday, the vote cleared a procedural vote. Not shocking to me, 51-49. Republican Senators Tom Tillis and Rand Paul are the two that voted against the bill. And Trump wasn't too happy with either of them, posting lots on his Truth Social platform, especially about Tom Tillis. Let me show you what he wrote. In it, he turns around and he says, "For all cost-cutting Republicans, of which I am one, remember, you still have to get reelected. Don't go too crazy. We will make it all up times 10 with growth, more than ever before." He then turned around in another post and wrote, "Tom Tillis has hurt the great people of North Carolina. Even on the catastrophic flooding, nothing was done to help until I took office. Then a miracle took place. Tillis is a talker and complainer, not a doer. He's even worse than Rand Fauci Paul." That's of course. And then finally, great news. Senator Tom Tillis will not be seeking re-election. Now, look, as you can see from Trump's post, Senator Tillis did announce that he would not be running for re-election, but would be committed to continuing to serve North Carolina. And yesterday, during the Senate debate, Tillis broke down the bill in a truly revealing way, saying that Trump's advisors are not telling him that the bill will break many promises. No, it's what he said. Play the clip.
That between the state-directed payments and the cuts scheduled in this bill, there's a reduction of state-directed payments. And then there's a reduction of the provider tax. They can't find a hole in my estimate. So what they told me is that, yeah, it's rough, but North Carolina's used the system. They're going to have to make it work. All right. So what do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years when President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there anymore, guys? When the White House is advising the president are not telling him that the effect of this bill is to break a promise.
Yeah. Senator Tillis goes on to speak about the last time that he saw promises broken and why he feels so strongly against this bill. Play the clip.
And you know, the last time I saw a promise broken around health care, with respect to my friends on the other side of the aisle, is when somebody said, if you like your health care, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. We found out that wasn't true. That made me the second Republican Speaker of the House since the Civil War, ladies and gentlemen, because we betrayed the promise to the American people. 3 years later, it actually made me a U.S. Senator because in 2010, it had just been proposed. And just anticipation of what was going to happen was enough to have a sea change election that swept Republicans into the majority for the second time in 100 years. Now, Republicans are about to make a mistake on health care and betraying a promise. It is inescapable that this bill in its current form will betray the very promise that Donald J. Trump made in the Oval Office or in the cabinet room when I was there with finance, where he said we can go after waste, fraud, and abuse on any programs.
Let me be very clear. You're listening now to Democrats and pundits, bunch of assholes sitting there saying, oh, good for Tom Tillis, good for Tom Tillis. See, I see it different. And I want to show you part of my Substack from this morning, which I called Elected to Lead, Chose to Run. In it, there's a saying that I've come to live by, especially after everything I've been through. When the pressure rises, you find out what people are really made of. Some rise to the occasion, others fold. And then there are those who simply walk away. Right now, we're watching a political moment unfold in real time that demands courage, clarity, and a commitment to country over career. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you have somebody as passionate as Tom Tillis is, talking about how Trump is betraying a promise and that he cannot vote for it because of that betrayal, is this the time that you pack your shit and you leave? No, this is the time you dig your fucking heels in like a mule and you fight for the country over your career. He just doesn't want to get bashed by MAGA and by Trump. And so he's saying it's just not worth it. But it is. Meanwhile, Senator Bernie Sanders went on MSNBC and he discussed Tom Tillis announcing that he wouldn't be running for re-election. Play the clip.
You're raising a very important question. I want people to understand what's going on. The Republican Party has not just become a right-wing extremist party. In many cases, it's become like a Stalinist party, a cult of the individual. And what the party is about now is that Trump says something, and if you have an independent thought, if you disagree with Mr. Trump, if you think maybe what he's proposing doesn't work for your constituents, you're out of here. You raise your voice, and in 5 minutes, they will be announcing a primary to your election. So what happened is Tillis thought that this was a bad piece of legislation for North Carolina. He's right. It was. And the result of that is Trump said, good, we're going to primary you. You have the same thing in the House, with a very few people who are prepared to disagree with Trump. So right now, the Republican Party people are just afraid to dissent. And all you have to do is say, I love President Trump. I will do anything and everything he says. Hey, that's what being a candidate in the Republican Party is today. Pretty pathetic.
Yeah. Look, let me be clear when it comes to Bernie Sanders. I said this in my Substack. I get it. Politics are brutal. Challenging Trump in a primary, even on policy, it almost guarantees you a barrage of attacks, smear campaigns, and the MAGA machine breathing down your neck. But that's the job. That's what public service requires sometimes. It sometimes requires standing firm, especially when it's hard. And choosing not to run, it may seem like a dignified retreat, but it's also a form of surrender. It's saying, I'd rather step aside than fight for what's right. And at a moment like this, when the stakes couldn't be higher, it's just not good enough. Now, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen went on CNN, and he was asked if he was concerned about the dynamic that if you speak out against Trump, that you will be primaried. Play the clip.
I want to ask about your colleague, Senator Tom Tillis' decision to not run for re-election. Obviously, he was one of the Republican nays last night. And look, as soon as that happened, President Trump was quick on social media, threatening to primary him. And my question to you is just from where I sit, does it concern you that the dynamic seems to be do what the president says, or he's going to threaten you with the primary?
No, there's a whole lot more to that story, which we don't have time to get in there. But
I got time. I don't know.
I don't have time though,
okay,
because.
Right.
But I'll just tell you, there's a lot more behind the scenes that you're not seeing there.
Yeah, let me be very clear about something. The real leadership, it's not about making the hard calls. It's not about making the popular ones. It's about doing the right thing. Now, I started this video speaking about Trump's meltdown on his social media, and I want to end with that as well. He went on and he spoke with Maria Bartiromo on Fox yesterday, and he didn't seem right All right. He spoke about the NATO summit. He said that everyone in the Netherlands loves him so much and respects the United States now like never before. Maybe they were just treating him carefully, almost like the bomb that could explode if it's touched wrong. Play the clip.
And, I was in that beautiful place with the king and the queen, and it was like beautiful. Everything's so nice. But when I went to the Netherlands and I looked, everybody was coming up, Mr. President, Mr. President. They didn't do that a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. These are the big countries. This is Germany and France and all of them. I mean, a big group of countries. They respect America again. They laughed at us. They thought we were a joke. You had a president that kept falling downstairs and falling on stages and couldn't find an entrance.
Yeah. Look, it then went on and they spoke about trade deals where Trump said that he's going to send a letter to Japan and addressed it, Dear Mr. Japan. No, serious. Play the clip.
We still don't know. We don't have the clarity on what you're going to do with these expiration of these pauses. July 9th.
No, I thought I just said it. No, I thought I just said it. You ready?
You're going to send the letters.
I'm going to send letters. That's the end of the trade deal. I could send one to Japan. Dear Mr. Japan.
Okay. I mean, dear Mr. Japan. Meanwhile, Trump claimed that there will be a TikTok deal in the proverbial 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Play that clip.
We have a buyer for TikTok, by the way. I think I'll need probably China approval. And I think President Xi will probably do it.
Who's buying?
I'll tell you in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. The famous 2 weeks. But by the way, there's no doubt in my mind that he has a deal. Trust me when I'm telling you, I know the man and I can tell his ticks and his tells, his stature and so on. He has somebody prepared to buy TikTok. It's not going to be what TikTok wants to pay or wants to receive, but I guarantee you he has this deal already locked up. And the last clip that I want to show you is of Trump threatening New York, potentially Zoran Mandani. Why? Not 100% certain, but it's what he's doing. Play the clip.
I have everybody, so I don't want to get into that. I can tell you this, whoever's mayor of New York is going to have to behave themselves, or the federal government is coming down very tough on them financially.
You said you're stopping all.
Yeah. Let me be very clear. As I end in my Substack post, again, elected to lead, chose to run. This isn't the time to exit. Not Tom Tillis, not anybody. It's the time to engage. Because if we don't stand up now for each other, for the vulnerable, for the truth, then we're leaving the fight to those who are more interested in political survival than public service. And that, my friends, is not a future any of us should accept. And as always, thanks for listening.